Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to master Brazil on an F124, going through all the little details to maximize your performance and how you can increase your speed around this historic and wonderful Formula 1 track. First of all, I'm going to be going through in a low-speed track breakdown analysis so you can see everything in massive detail, and then I'm going to go into a full-speed lap analysis after so you can see it also in a live demonstration. So, even before getting to turn 1, you want to keep your car on the right-hand side of the track as much as possible, as this minimizes the bumps and the friction down the straight compared to the normal track surface, helping you gain a few kilometers an hour down the straight. Turn 1, you're going to be braking just after the 50-meter board, and you can see this will bring you pretty naturally to the outside of the track, and you want to be aiming your car for those advertising boards on the outside of the racing surface. And turn 1, there's a lot of elevation change, so the rear of the car can become quite unsettled if you're not careful here. So you want to be using the inside curbstone as much as possible. Then turn 2 is easily flat out in 5th gear, but you want to minimize your distance throughout there so you can gain as much speed around that apex as possible. Turn 3, again, minimizing your distance so then you can hug the inside white line and gain as much lap time as possible. Opening DRS and bring your car to the right hand side pretty quickly after the corner, as there's a bump just around this white line, so you want to be to the right hand side of the track to try and avoid this and not scrub off any unnecessary speed down the straight. Just after the 100-meter board is going to be your braking point for this apex here, and you want to be using as much road on the inside as possible right up until the grass and the track limits allow you to do so. And again, on the exit, using up as much road as possible. The reason you want to use so much curb there, as it just minimizes the distance around the corner. It can make the car pretty unsettled and unstable, but a good tactic to deviate that and to eliminate that is to hold 10% throttle. Basically, that helps stabilize the car and puts the weight transfer to the rear axle, and this can help make the car a bit more stable as a natural result of that. Through the next kink of the left hander was easily flat out anyway, so we don't really need to talk about it, and this is where it gets a bit spicy. This double right hander is easily flat out up the hill, and you want to be using the inside curbing just a little bit to minimize the distance and bring the car over to the right hand side again. And as you rise over the crest of the hill, there isn't really a braking point for this imminent braking zone and its imminent corner coming right up, but you want to be using all the curb on the outside to open up the corner as much as possible. And about here is where you want to be braking. Again, there just simply is not a braking reference that I use here anyway, and I don't think there is one that's usable in general, to be honest. It's just all advertising boards that have the same color here and nothing really to do. So you want to be using as much of the curbing as possible, then turn to the right as late as possible to avoid the grass on the outside, and then you're going to be sweeping into this apex using up as much of the road on the inside as possible. You'll be in 3rd gear at this point, and you want to be hugging this inside curbing. The more understeer you have here, the more your car will wash out, but ideally if you can keep the car solidly to the inside curbstone here is the fastest way as you go back down the hill and using up as much road on the outside as possible. Short shift to 4th if you want a bit more traction. This is where it gets really difficult as a braking zone example. As you can see, going into nose camera, there's quite a lot of elevation change within this apex here. So as you go through the initial braking zone, the car is going uphill, so you have more grip potential, and as you get closer to the apex, the track goes back downhill. So as to repeat that, as you're starting your braking zone, it's going uphill, and as you get to the apex, the track is going downhill, what means as you get to the apex, it's quite easy to lock the inside right-hand tire, as when you go downhill, you have less grip in a racing car. Keep your car to the outside as much as possible, as you really want to swing in with a late apex here, because the traction is super difficult, as once again there's elevation change on the exit of this corner, what means the traction is so important to get straight, committed and confident with. Do not take the inside curbstone here, as it will unsettle the car and make the angle of the corner too tight and mean that you do not get a good exit. You can run over this mesh on the outside to gain a bit of lap time potential as well. Here is one of the real hidden gems of this lap. you can use the inside curb zone as much as possible to minimize your distance around the corner, and this will allow you to be as fast as possible, gaining upwards of half a tenth compared to driving around that curbing. There isn't really a reference marker for this final corner, to be honest, once again, but the hidden secret here is to be using 2 wheels on this inside curbstone to help rotate the car around the corner. Ideally, you are just using 2 wheels on this inside curb, but as you can see right now, it is just about running a constant radius arc around the corner to just help rotate the car around the apex. On the exit of the corner, you want to be using as much road as possible right up to the track limits, and then bringing your car to the inside of the road here to minimize distance going up the hill to finish your lap here. You can see keeping the car solid to the inside as we open up DRS. And again, as like starting the lap, keep your car on the green part of the track as it has less bumps in it compared to the normal part of the track, so you can help gain a few kilometers per hour or miles per hour down the straight to gain an advantage compared to your opponents. Now going into a full speed analysis here of the lap, you can see final corner, open up the track as much as possible, and now running down into turn 1, you're going to be waiting for that DRS board, opening it wide as possible. You can see using the curb on the inside and now cutting to the outside to just avoid the bumps as much as possible. 50-meter ball just after it, down into 3rd gear, let the car rotate, inside curbing, 5th gear for the traction, easily flat out down the hill, minimizing the distance here, now into 7th and opening DRS, bring the car to the right hand side to avoid the bump, end of sector 1, 100-meter ball just after, down into 4th gear, use the curb on the inside, on the outside as well, and that has been very lovely. Up into 7th gear, now down into 6th, easily flat out through the right hander, catch the rear of the car, using up all the road, down into 3rd gear, point the car to the apex, into the apex, hug the inside curb, and now just looking for the traction, short shift to 4 for the traction as well. Now down 2 gears, look for that late apex and try to get as much confidence on the power as possible like we did there. Hug the inside curving, it can make the car a bit unsettled, but it's definitely worth it. Down 3 gears, 2 wheels on the inside curbing, that was sweet, that was ideal. Using up all the outside road as possible as well, and now just minimizing your distance to the start finish line. Open at the DRS for one more time on this lap, use the green, and this is the full speed lap here in Brazil. And now going back into the garage to show you a bit about the setup. So the setup is of course a time trial setup, and it is very good though. I have altered it to make it a bit more stable for you at home as well. The baseline time trial setup is 50-40 wings. I have put on 43 just to make it a bit more stable and a bit more pliable to driving at home as well. Something you can even do is 45 if you're struggling with rear grip and traction. The differentials, the engine braking is already very good, and you can see all the setup is actually very good anyway. So if you are struggling with rear locking, go forward on the brake bias. If you're struggling with front locking, go rearward on the brake bias, of course. And if you're having just general snaps of oversteer like I was in that lap, you can even go higher and higher on the rear aerodynamics to gain more stability. But thank you so much for watching. I've been Brendon Leigh. This has been your Brazilian track guide on F124, and of course celebrating that the real life race is happening here this weekend. Max versus Lando, I hope will be spicy. It was already spicy in Mexico. Good drama, and I'm sure Netflix are loving it. Anyway, thank you so much, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.